Welcome back to the Check Me Out Showcase, Seattle. The mission is still the same, although the age division has changed up as we get ready to start the underclass segment here for the broadcast piece. I'm Marcus Burnett, and I'm joined by Kelsey Plum here courtside. Well, it's the younger division. Kelsey, your thoughts as we get ready to have our first stream from this segment?
I've been very impressed in terms of the drills, the handles on some of these guards. They were making a lot of shots earlier too, so they might be younger, but they sure look just as good.
It's good stuff. Always good to hear. And even if you have an event where there's a high energy level with the older segment, it just seems like the kids are a little bit more wide-eyed and anxious to learn and get better when you look at these younger divisions. This is Team 12 versus Team 13.
Nice defense by Wyatt. I like the intensity. Like you said, they are a little bit more wide-eyed. Whether that is youth, whether that is just their hunger to learn, they've been great so far.
Pretty good size for her age there, number 12, Nevaeh Henley, trying to use it to get that bucket. Mission accomplished. So Henley gives us our first points of the contest there with that bucket inside. And, you know, when you look at, obviously you're a player that has played the game at the highest levels when you look at your list of accolades and what you do currently here for the University of Washington. But if I'm a talent evaluator and I'm looking at these young kids, talk about the balance between seeing certain things that they need to build on, but also realizing that these are very young kids.
Yeah, I think as an evaluator, you look at a couple things. You look at their size, their athleticism, their love for the game, how much they're going to work on it. But at the end of the day, these are still kids. They're still growing and learning and kind of growing into their bodies. And so, you know, you can't make too many final judgments yet. Yep. You kind of have to let them develop.
Yeah, I always like hearing and talking with the evaluators that know how to, see certain elements that will be relevant going into high school, but also know that it takes time. I mean, you look at premature rankings, I feel like, of players that are too young, and most of the movers and shakers by the time these kids are in high school is a totally different list than what you looked at during middle school. So I like those that can kind of weigh both elements and be able to realize sometimes it just takes time.
I couldn't agree with you more on that aspect. I mean, coming out of high school, you know, I think my sophomore year I wasn't even ranked, and by the time I was a senior I was able to crack the top 25. So I think definitely it takes time, and you know, you have to have the patience as a player to be able to withstand that time.
Back and forth we go. That bucket trying to be answered the other way. Three-point attempt. That one kicks off the back of the rim. I believe it was last touched by Henley.
You know, Henley's been really active early. I got a chance to play pick with her yesterday. She's a great athlete. Right now, someone smaller is Gardner, so she's posted up the last couple possessions, but I think she has a really high ceiling.
You see her willingness to get in there and use her size inside. There are players 4 or 5 years her senior that don't have that same fervor when it comes to posting up, so that should bode well for her moving forward. Couple white jerseys around her. She gets fouled on the play, so she'll get a chance to go to the free throw line for the 1-for-2 free throw opportunity. So we will have 5 new subs in for Team White. That will include number 429, Riley Leishman, and number 72, Isabella Reed, number 96, Layla Green, number 142, Elizabeth Sundet, and number 172, Cassidy Kinslow. Wonder if Kinslow is any relation. I can't think of her sister's name. I think it might be Sydney Kinslow. But she was a Check Me Out Showcase camper last year that definitely made her presence felt. Have to ask Chris Hansen that when he comes over to check in with us. Curling around and floating it up and in is Isabella Reed for her first points of the contest.
I love that hard cut to the basket. Great pass, way to have her head up, and good finish.
It's great to be able to do things with the ball, but I love to see players that can move without it but are also aggressive on the catch. Part of what I used to love about growing up and watching Mercer when he was at the University of Kentucky, I think he was one of the better players to ever use a curl, but he did so much with it, just really lining things up before he had even touched the ball.
I think that is starting to become a lost art in basketball these days. I mean, people want to be the top 10 play on SportsCenter, but what wins games is moving without the ball and just being efficient production.
Couldn't agree more. I think even though they hit that obvious road bump in the finals, part of what makes Golden State so fun to watch is why you got guys like Curry that can dial a bucket quickly one-on-one. He and Klay Thompson do a great job moving without the ball. Coast-to-coast finish there for number 142, Elizabeth Sunday. Running the floor, calling for it, and taking advantage of the opportunity there is number 10, Olivia Stevens.
Team Black has done a great job of running the floor, gotten some easy buckets. I think it's partially because White hasn't gotten back on defense and communicated, but keep running the floor, Black. That's the way to go.
Running one element, and camp director Chris Hansen pulled everybody in before that last session of Cutthroat to emphasize the importance of the communication out there on the floor. Yes, these players are young, but that needs to be something that's drilled early on so they don't take that the lack of communication into the higher levels. Nice little sequence going for the last couple plays for Olivia Stevens. There she gets the baby jumper.
That was a nice pass by Moran. She one-handed flew that thing across the court and found her open teammate.
Had Moran help her. Made it a 10-6 game after it was cashed in by Stevens. Now here's Medley McCormick. Riley McPeck under the rest. Now gets it up top to Moran, who's sort of been the table setter of sorts here in the first few minutes. Olivia Stevens now has her third straight bucket here in this one. Joined on the mic by Chris Hansen. Hansen, appreciate you stopping by. Join Kelsey and I here in underclass action.
Man, is somebody going to stop that kid? On Stevens, can I get a closeout?
An adjustment will have to be made. She's going to be taking advantage until they make it. Not sure if they call bank.
Hey, ATM's open all the time.
Layla Green making a withdrawal there.
There's an answer to my question.
Looking to push the other way. Here's Reed. Reed's pass is broken up. Now, Hanson, before I forget, number 172, Cassidy Kinslow. Did she have a sister here named, was it
Sydney Kinslow? She was a Check Me Out regular. Yep. She's at University of Illinois now. She transferred from Pepperdine. She actually graduated high school early, December of her senior year, and enrolled at Pepperdine in January, and didn't work out there. So she's actually she's in Champaign right now, enjoying her redshirt freshman year there.
Talk about camp energy. Love what Kinslow brought to the table year in, year out at Check Me Out Showcase, especially the way she defended and ran the floor. Running the floor there and getting the bucket is Addie Whedon.
Addie's gritty. Her older sister, Tacey, was with us last year, plays with the Cal Stars, kid out of Happy Valley, Oregon, shooter, 2018 kid.
Chris, Kelsey and I talked about this earlier in the broadcast from an evaluator standpoint, how these players are at a young, ripe age where it's about development, getting better. And then we use Kelsey as a prime example. She mentioned how she was unranked going into high school. I'd say at McDonald's All-American game invite later. She obviously, made the most out of her high school career. But talk about this young age from the evaluator standpoint.
Yeah, what we're looking for, I think what you see is the kids that have the drive. The kids that aren't scared of contact. Whether the shot goes in or not, you're not really interested in that. You're looking at the grit. You're looking at their aggressiveness. You're looking at how they handle failure. Do they take that next shot even if they miss one? Those kinds of things tend to carry over, where some of these kids, if we're in a drill setting, they might have every move in the book, but if you don't have the aggression and you don't have that assertiveness and confidence on the floor, the earlier you get that, it's just more layers you can add to your game. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I hesitate to rank kids in middle school. I know we have some rising freshmen in this group, and we'll take a look at that class after the spring eval weekends when they played a full high school season. So really, I want to see who just loves to compete, who loves to get after it. And I mean, I've had a chance to watch Kelsey from a young age, watch her in college, watch her work ethic. Heck, we were at elite camp one year and we decided to play pickup. I probably hadn't played that kind of defense since my high school playing days, because I knew she doesn't know how to not compete. So if I didn't chase her butt all over the gym, she's probably going to put 20 on me in 10 seconds. I wasn't having that. But that's what I'm looking for, that drive, that constant drive.
Your thoughts on Nevaeh Henley's drive so far, Kelsey?
Man, I think Nevaeh has played absolutely great. She's ran the floor, got some easy buckets in transition, offensive rebounds. She's been a monster on the glass, and she just showed she has a little outside game. So very surprised and encouraged about her. I'd like to see her development in the future.
She's going to be playing with the Northwest Blazers here this next spring, but I got to see her with FOH quite a few times because my niece's team has played against her team. She's a handful. I mean, you got to keep a body on her because she just stays active. And you can't really – sometimes you can get more effort out of kids, but that constant activity, that's just natural for her. That kind of thing will translate regardless of how big she gets when she gets older.
14-12 here as we approach the 4-minute mark. Ball's loose but kept by Team Black. Rebound by Nakia Boston.
Way to run the floor! Nice job!
Good look at three off the mark. Rebound brought down by Stevens.
I know that shot didn't go in, but that was a great extra pass to set up her teammate for the open shot.
Was a good look. If you can get those kind of looks on a consistent basis, you're doing pretty good.
I wish I got those looks on a consistent basis.
You made too many shots.
Well, if you were getting those looks on a consistent basis, I mean, lookout league, you're already averaging 26 points per last season. So, what, are you looking to average 40?
I'm just trying to win ball games.
Most definitely. We're going to try another jumper, follows her shot, and we'll have some contact there as both Henley and Boston were going for it. Boston representing ECBA Swish. Program that has no lack of representation here at Check Me Out. They go to the floor to get it, and it's Team White that comes away with it.
Yeah, there's something about the program, that program in particular, with their mind towards training. I know Mo Hines here on our staff, Keith Wasberg coaches their 2020 group. You got Jason Basket that coaches the boys and girls. They do a really good job in terms of just keeping those kids in the gym, keeping an eye on development.
Was able to see some of the fruits of that labor there in our Peach State basketball coverage. They were able to take advantage of that stage in front of college coaches with some pretty good matchups and wins there in July.
Riley Leishman there, number 429. She's been coming to this camp for the last 2 years. She was too young to play. She'd come and do the drill work every day, and each weekend. And this year she's finally old enough to be out there and compete. I know she's been looking forward to it for quite some time.
That was a nice play by her right there. She just stripped that player to save a bucket.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. Like, the size doesn't really matter. It's that competitive edge. She doesn't care how small she is. She just went in there and tried to get a stop. Elizabeth Sunditz had her way here a little bit in this game, getting to the rim, getting inside of 5 feet, and she's a kid I've got to work quite a bit with, playing on my niece's team, the Snow Peak Ice, and Loves to jump off of 2 feet and elevate and finish with that little floater.
Take it out, let's go!
Splash from the outside there by Medley McCormick. We approach the final minute of the first half.
Balance!
McCormick makes it 16-14. Oz will have time. Quick bio break there. Nakia Boston had a little blood there on the leg, playing so hard, didn't even notice it. Everybody was just looking around, trying to figure out what's going on.
A little blood.
Yeah,
like a lot of blood.
That is an understatement. Persistence paying off for Camille Stensgaard. Fouled on the follow-up. She'll go to the free throw line.
I like that second effort by Camille. She missed the shot, didn't give up on the play, went and grabbed a rebound. And I hope I don't jinx her on this free throw. Yeah, classic.
Yeah, we got to get closer to even. I got about 4 or 5 jinxes. I think you're only at about 1 or 2, so you're still in pretty good shape. Under the minute mark now here in the first half. That one short, but sticking with it and tipping it out. See if they can cash in on the second opportunity. Talked about Elizabeth Sundit. Another rebound and lay-in. Moran to Henley. Henley got where she wanted to, couldn't get the lay to go. And with about 3 seconds left here in the first half, that is going to do it. Thanks for joining us here for Underclass Division coverage at the Check Me Out Showcase. We'll be right back after this brief intermission.
Say what? Back to the action here as we get the second half started. Team White versus Team Black. Also 12 versus 13 when it comes to the number side of things. We're tied up at 16 apiece. So essentially right where we started. Here as we get the second half going, Marcus Burnett joined by Kelsey Plum. And that right there is Stevens. Had a good first half, denied on that first attempt, but they'll get another crack at it. As this half goes along, I'd like to see both teams move more without the ball, a lot of less dribbling and one-on-one play. I think right now it's getting a little stagnant.
Yeah. Trying to jumppstart things there. Almost floated up and in by Eliana Moran. she scored it there, but spent a lot of the first half helping move the ball around, get others involved. That one's turned over. It'll go the other way.
Unlucky there. Sometimes those turnovers are killer. You're focused on something else, take your eye off the ball real quick, and out of bounds.
Too strong on the three-point attempt. Rebounded by Bree Nichols. Nichols trying to strong arm her way in there. Can't get the shot to go. Pass ahead to Stevens. That one will kick off the shin of Moran. So I remember reading out, Kelsey, you, after wrapping up the gold medal game with USA basketball back going into your freshman year, as that jumper's knocked down by Jasmine Stone, rather than going back home in San Diego for a little bit and then heading up to Seattle, you headed straight from Lithuania here on campus. Talk about what was going through your head right around that time that had you so anxious to get here to Seattle.
I wanted to go to summer school. I wanted to get in the weight room and conditioning and kind of learn the offense and feel comfortable with it, almost get a head start rolling down into the year. I know with freshmen, and I've been fortunate to play in a family full of Division I college athletes, but there's definitely a transition period. So I wanted to close the gap as much as possible. And I'd give that advice to anyone that is going into college. I would get there as soon as possible, just kind of get acquainted with everything, because regardless, it is different, no matter how good you are. So I try to almost help myself and give myself the best chance to be as productive and the best I could for my team right away.
Most definitely. We talk about the fire and the drive for some of these younger kids. That's drive exemplified right there. So much respect on that note. Three-point attempt is up and good. It's Moran. She's got 5 points already here in the second half.
I like Moran's game. I like how she kept her dribble alive. She could have picked it up and passed it, but she kept it alive. The defense kind of got carried away, and she was able to just step in and knock down that shot.
She makes it 18-22. Pass is broken up and kept in bounds. Good hustle there by Metley McCormick. That one blocked along the baseline. And that's Moran serving as a catalyst here in this second half.
And you're gonna leave 42 and 30.
So we'll have some substitutions
You stay and you stay.
on the floor for
Everyone else out. Nice job.
Team 12 will be number 12, Nevaeh Henley, a player to keep an eye on. Anybody that was with us in the first half knows exactly why. Number 174, Brandy White. Number 430, Camille Stensgaard. Number 24, Eliana Moran, still on the floor. And number 23, Kara Choi.
Now, as Nevaeh enters this game, I'd really like to see her impose herself on the defensive end. I mean, the athlete that she is and the physicality she brings, I think as offensively as well has she done on the offensive end, I'd like to kind of see it on the defensive end as well. Nice play there.
That we've been seeing all game. We'll see if she answers the bell in terms of bringing that same sort of impact on the defensive end. The cut, pass, ends up coming through with the second effort on the glass. That's Elizabeth Elibani. Moran in attack mode, had that one knocked out of bounds. Henley not being shy on the offensive end. That quick catch and shoot, no good, but Moran has been a bottle of energy here in the second half. Stepping through, layup drill.
Nice take by Moran. She set her defender up, loaded her sleep with the left, crossed right, took it strong to the hole.
A bit too strong on the layup attempt. Rebounding. Getting from point A to point B quickly there was Choi. Couldn't get the shot to go. Henley, she's reinforcements. Her shot no good, but they're just playing volleyball inside now. few offensive rebounds. And persistence finally paying off for Henley as she gets that one. So I know obviously the program, Coach Neighbors, you mentioned your relationship with Coach and how solid of a resource that he is. Obviously, Washington was able to secure your commitment. When you look at some of the other schools that you considered on the East Coast and different parts of the country, what were some of the factors that made you want to stay right here out west?
Well, I'm originally from San Diego, so when I started being recruited, I drew a line to see how far I could get away. But then I kind of ended up falling back to the West Coast at the end. At the end of the day, I wanted to play right away. So an opportunity to get a chance to kind of be thrown into the fire. That's kind of how I like. I've always been an underdog. So kind of take a program that wanted my help along with some of my new teammates that came in and just kind of change the culture. And then I loved the city of Seattle, and University of Washington is a great place to come to school. Like you said, you saw the campus, and it's gorgeous. So I really just fell in love with the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Truly beautiful campus. A couple players we covered on the boys' side playing here on the for the Huskies as well. Markel Fultz, talented player out of the DMV area. You talk about guys that are unranked. He was actually not cut from varsity, but he actually had to play JV his sophomore year and ended up being one of the better players in the country, McDonald's All-American by the time he wrapped up.
Isn't that crazy? I was talking to Coach Chilius on the men's staff about that, and he was telling me that he saw him play JV. And he couldn't believe, he told Romar, he said, this guy's going to be an NBA All-Star. And Romar said, all right, let's recruit him then. And sure enough, he grew 7 inches, and here he is. He's probably going to go top 3 in the draft.
Most definitely. We're joined here courtside by Hannah Wheeler. Wheeler out of Cedar Park, Texas, the Lone Star State. Hannah, how you feeling here in Seattle this weekend?
I'm feeling great. How about you?
Oh, we're doing awesome. We got a lot of young talent that's here competing, getting better, so couldn't be happier. What makes you come from Texas all the way up here to Seattle? What is it that sticks out to you most about the Check Me Out Showcase?
I just want to get better, and I know this is probably one of the best showcases there is out there, and I know it's going to have the most competition and the best, so I just came out here to get better.
If you had to look at your game right now, what do you feel like you do best, and what are some of the things that you want to continue to work on?
I think one of the things that I do good in is dribbling, but sometimes my passes are a little, they're not the greatest or the smartest, so I think I need to work on that.
Pretty self-aware. Any questions on your end, Kelsey?
Have you made any friends, and if so, who? And are you going to keep in contact with anyone after you leave?
I have made some friends, some like younger players. Millie over there, number 2, and the one next to her with the buns, Maddie. They're really nice and sweet, and I hope to keep contact with her and some of my teammates. So, yeah.
If we look at a quick score check, it is 25-33 as we approach the 6-minute mark. So you're out of Texas, Wheeler. Are you a Spurs fan, Rockets fan, Mavericks fan?
Well, I'm originally born in Oklahoma,
okay.
So I'm a Thunder fan.
Oh, that's a perfect segue because I always like to get where people stand in terms of Kevin Durant going to the Warriors instead of staying with the Thunder. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that team is just going to get, like, really, really good, but there's just going to be too much tension on it, so it's just going to break up.
That's one hypothesis. That's one way to look at it.
Either that or they're just going to kick everyone's butt.
How about you, Kelsey? What are your thoughts?
You know, at times I have mixed feelings, but at the end of the day, especially watching Kevin in this Olympics, he's an unselfish guy. I mean, he looks to score, but he wants the best play for his team. I know Steph and Clay just want to win too, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that Golden State is going to be the best team in the NBA.
Yeah.
That last bucket was scored by Bree Nichols for Team White, followed up by Addie Wheaton with the bucket inside. Yeah, I was all for the move because I think at the end of the day, you know, we're all from the outside looking in. We get what we gather about these players from watching TV and following them, but nobody knows Kevin Durant's situation better than he did. You know, for the people that wanted him to stay, if Russell Westbrook leaves in a year, then what? You know, if Kevin Durant went with popular opinion versus doing what he did. And as far as those that claim it's a super team, I don't think people realize how hard it was for the Miami Heat to win championships, even when LeBron went in there. It wasn't like it was a cakewalk. You know, those guys got hit in the mouth a couple years, and they really had to work. It's the NBA for a reason. So I'm looking forward to seeing things unfold. I think he made the right decision.
Now, what's your take on Russell, and how do you think his game, if it will change? Or I did see the thing that came out from ESPN that statistically speaking, he's supposed to be the favorite for the MVP.
I think Russell is going to always be Russell. I don't think his game's going to change. You're going to get that same intensity, but you're also going to, it's kind of like the three. You're going to live by Russell and die by Russell. While his energy is what makes him great, his energy is what can also make him, you know, maybe take a shot that'll make you squint or maybe do certain things. But I think if you're Oklahoma City, you still got a superstar. You still got a guy that's going to play hard every night. So you just live with him.
I couldn't agree with you more on that.
And now, you know, for the longest, it was what if this were Russell's team. You know, you saw different stretches where when KD was injured, he did that. As you see, number 142, Elizabeth Sundit scored. Now it truly is his team, so we'll see how this next season goes.
I really like that take by Sundit. She held her defender off while she shot it with her right hand, one-handed. That was pretty strong and athletic play.
Sundit hasn't disappointed so far here in this game. Good defense there as Kara Choi got a hand on it. Scores 33-37 as we approach the 3-minute mark here. So Wheeler, obviously it's a lot of talent in every sport there in Texas. Basketball is no exception. How proud does it make you feel to sort of represent your state, your hometown against players from all across the country?
It makes me kind of nervous, but it does make me happy to be like, I'm here, I'm one of the better players in that state, and it makes me just kind of feel good about myself that I'm up here.
Nervous? Why does it make you nervous?
Well, I mean, you got the best players in the country out here, and I'm just kind of like from one little town in Cedar Park. So it's like...
Okay, I could understand that.
Yeah.
Subs, go ahead.
So just a kid from Cedar Park, huh? To play with everybody's just a kid from fill in the blank these days. Just a kid from Cedar Park.
Do you have aspirations to play at the college level, and if so, what's maybe your dream school?
I do want to play college, but dream school, I just kind of want to go anywhere that'll take me, really. Just do what I can to make it there.
I love it. That's a great answer.
Too strong on the shot. Oh, good defense. Getting her best safety impression on there was Elizabeth Elibani. Score still 33-37. It's a 4-point game as we approach the final minute. Both teams being bit by the three bug here over the past few minutes. Henley with the rebound. Easy lay on the other end for Addie Wheaton.
You know, Team Black has done a great job of getting out in transition throughout the entire game. And I think if White looked at the amount of transition buckets they've given up, this game would be either tied or they might even be ahead.
That's a key point. And while she can't make up for the transition woes there, she does help the case, does Elibani, as that triple pushes the lead back to 4 points. Under 30 seconds now. Got to score relatively quickly. We'll have a foul there so they get clock stoppage, a chance to go to the free throw line for a 1-for-2 opportunity. This is number 428. Addie Whedon at the line. Nice job of hitting those free throws. Talking about some of the elements you watch for with the younger players. How do they respond in certain situations? Whedon able to go down here in a late game situation and knock it down.
You can tell a lot about a player in the last couple minutes of the game, the heat of the fire, if they want it, if they want to be there, if they want the last shot, or they don't.
Whedon hits big free throws. So it's 33 to... And that will do it. Appreciate you joining us here on SUV TV. Signing off is Marcus Burnett, Kelsey Plum, and Cedar Park's own Hannah Wheeler. Thanks for joining us here at the Check Me Out Showcase.
Oh, that was embarrassing.
Why?